Yes, that's me. So, in a hospital maternity ward, there's so many emotions in the delivery room. There's excitement, joy, and some anxiety. Well, when I was born, there was another emotion in the delivery room: surprise. I can hardly imagine how my mom and dad felt when they learned that they were the parents of not one, but two baby girls, twins. My mom had a feeling that she was pregnant with twins, but the doctor told her she wasn't. And, and my sister and I had instant best friends and playmates. You see, it's much harder to become your own person when you have someone a few feet away from you. And my sister and I learned early about life as a twin. We shared everything from toys, clothes, bedrooms, birthday cakes, no boyfriends, and love from, of course, our parents. I was Stacey and she was Shari, but to most others, we were simply the twins. And learned early to negotiate questions like, why do you weigh more than your twin? And how come you get better grades than your twin? And strangely enough, we never truly knew if we were identical or fraternal growing up. The doctor told my parents that we were fraternal, but really with little evidence or explanation. So there was always this ambiguity. But because we were very much treated like a single person, it sure did feel like we were identical. So you may be saying to yourself, what does Stacey's twin saga have to do with personal branding? Only everything. You see, because personal branding is about standing out, it's about being memorable, it's about being unique, and that's what I had to do from day one, was strive to be unique. So now as a professional marketer, I have developed a niche because building personal brands has always come second nature to me. And with our lives playing out online and competition growing more global, personal branding is no longer a luxury, it is a requirement. And so it doesn't matter whether you're a 50-something professional or a college-bound high school student, a strong personal brand can make all the difference. And today, guess what? We're gonna talk about building a brand. First, a little vocabulary lesson. So what is a personal brand exactly? Well, in 1998, management guru Tom Peters coined the term in a Fast Company article. He said, "We are the CEOs of Me Inc. To be in business today, our most important job is to be head marketer for the brand called you." His point, businesses aren't the only ones that need brands. Everybody has a personal brand. It's your passions, accomplishments, expertise, values. And personal brands can be positive, neutral, or negative. And a lot of people think that personal brands just happen. They don't. The best ones are very carefully honed. And so what we say, post, publish, all adds up and carries tremendous weight. Anyone want to go back to the delivery room? Okay, let's go back. So face it, we're all branded at birth. And by the way, this is not a real baby, so don't worry. But think about it. Our birth certificates are our first branding moment. Our names are personal, but they're also public. They're the first thing that others learn about us, and they induce all sorts of judgment from heritage to socioeconomic status. As parents, we want to give our newborns the best possible start, and that should start with a name. In fact, there's tons of data that prove the name that you give your child will influence likability, academic, and career success, or lack of it. So an interesting study, there's been many interesting studies, but LinkedIn analyzed 100 million profiles to determine which names are most associated with C-level executives, and found that today you're more likely to be a CEO with the names like Peter, Jack, Bob, or for women, Deborah, Cynthia, or Caroline. Another study, very interesting study, shows that women with gender-neutral names like Jordan and Alex actually have an advantage in male-dominated fields like engineering or technology. So it should come to you with little surprise that baby naming has become a big business. So there are countless tools and services. There's online databases, baby name generators, and yes, what I'm about to tell you is true. Baby name consultants. They range in price from a few $100s to one that I interviewed, this is true, one that I interviewed will charge you $25,000 to name your child. So before we depart the delivery room, let me leave you with this anecdote. When my business partner, Jess, was 7 months pregnant and conflicted over a name, I reminded her to make sure that the URL was available before they made, it's true, she's here right now, before they made the name selection. And really, in today's world, where search engine optimization is more valuable than precious metal, do you really want to name your child the millionth Jim Smith? So personal branding, again, it's a lifelong undertaking, and different ages call for different approaches. During the impressionable toddler and elementary school years, you want to encourage discovery and exploration. Let your children go. Is your child going to be an engineer, a fitness instructor, psychologist, artist, or maybe an astronaut? Introduce them to science, music, art, drama, math, and more, and urge them to pursue their passions. Let's fast forward to high school. So in high school, this is where cultivating a positive and impressive brand really becomes key. And those that tend to their personal brand early exponentially will increase the likelihood of success in college admissions and also that all-important first job. So what does that look like? No racy photos, no racy social media accounts. Instead, an Instagram that showcases a budding interest in photography, LinkedIn that highlights achievements, or Twitter with thoughtful analysis of current events. And it's really about students are much more concerned about SAT and ACT scores when they should be more concerned about character. And let's imagine two prospective students. Student A has a slightly higher test score. Student B has their own tutoring business with a website and great client testimonials. Who do you think is a more appealing student? I bet many of you are thinking B. So another reason why personal branding matters in college admissions is because everything kids do today is public and permanent. And so yet another reason is more than 75% of admissions officers, they are looking at applicants' social media. So all the more reason to share positive testimonials about your tutoring business than photos of beer and bongs. Maybe you're not convinced. Recently, 10 students, incoming students to Harvard, got their admission revoked because they posted inappropriate content on social media. These brilliant students who were able to make the cut in Harvard's 4.59% acceptance rate lost it all. So while college admissions is the first personal branding milestone, it's definitely not the last. How you perform in college, grades, internships, all influence that first job. And a great resume is just one part of the equation. You also need a strong online portfolio, networking, LinkedIn, and this holds true throughout your whole career. So we see that personal branding is crucial to success, but how do we create it, and when should you start? The real work should begin in high school, around the age of 14. And every personal brand should have a roadmap. First comes discovery, which is really a self-audit of your passions, expertise, values, goals. And by plotting all of this, you'll be able to crystallize your competitive advantage, or what I actually call the why choose me factor. And just as important as understanding who you are, you must understand your target audience and what drives them, whether it's an admissions officer, client, or recruiter. And personal branding is not about me, me, me. It's your value to others. Why do you stand out from the other college applicants? And why should you be selected for that coveted promotion? And why should someone hire your company? Number 2, develop. Develop a strong portfolio that showcases your value. So your LinkedIn, Twitter, Facebook, everything should be updated and in sync. Got to make every word count. And number 3 is deliver. Think of yourself as a news channel. Think of yourself as a news channel. Think about this. You're sharing information through various channels. I always say communications works best when there's a constant drumbeat. So you can't just turn on the volume and then walk away. But the journey does not stop with delivery. The work does not stop here. And the great news is that it's never too late to start. The important thing is to know is that as you progress in your career, you have to constantly adapt and refine your personal brand. So I started this story telling you about my twin. And growing up, we were constantly asked, are you fraternal or identical? And although I'd respond fraternal, I always had some doubt. Even though the doctor said that we weren't and we didn't look identical. But interestingly enough, I always feared getting tested because even though we were twins, I liked the idea of being unique. So I'm working on a book on personal branding, and I had the opportunity recently to interview a twin expert. And at the end of our conversation, I shared with her our little quandary of not knowing. And she encouraged me to take a DNA test. And I thought, wouldn't it be poetic if we were identical after all? With my career built on branding when 2 humans entered the world. So we took the test, and we waited for the results, and the results came in, and guess what? Identical. Does that change my identity? No. The best compliment I've ever gotten is, Stacey, you are so unique. Because I've been developing my unique personal brand since birth. So I am uniquely Stacey, and my sister's uniquely Shari, even if we are identical twins. And if two twins can stand out as individuals and each develop their own distinct brands, you can too. Thank you. Good night.